Hey guys, it's Hannah with your latest VarieTea Topic, stress management. A lot of you guys asked for this one and we were more than happy to deliver because we know a little something about stress. Alexis and I have put together 10 different tips that we use in our daily lives that you might find helpful to incorporate into yours. So let's get started. Okay, so stress management is a really important topic to me because it's something I've struggled with. It's been a growing, learning, trial and error kind of thing. I am busy all the time, and if you know me, I stay busy. This past semester was my last in college, and so I took 18 hours. I worked full-time at 4 different schools teaching dance, choreographed on the side. I, maintained relationships with friends and family, and juggling all of that is really overwhelming. And I think a lot of people feel that way. Everyone's busy, everyone has different stuff going on in their lives, and these tips that I'm giving you have really helped me manage them and not feel so overwhelmed. So my first tip for you is to get organized. And that is such a vague blanket thing to say, and it seems very intuitive, but organized in a way that accommodates your lifestyle. Just the philosophy or the fundamental idea that you can break down big things into small manageable chunks, when you accept that, it is revolutionary. I think I said it was a trial and error thing just because I've tried different ways and not all of them worked. So if this doesn't work for you, kind of tweak it and find a way that this works for you. But my number one tip to get organized is planners. Because if you know me, I am a planner freak. I love planners and accessories and stationery and all that jazz. So it's been something that's been really helpful for me. I actually use, and this may be the part that you're like, whoa, I might do something different, and that's totally fine. I'm just sharing what's worked with me. But I use 3 different planners at any given time because I'm a freak like that. So I use these because, like I said, breaking things down into smaller manageable chunks has really helped me. So I compartmentalize my planners. I have one planner, or I did have one planner that was specifically for all of my homework, assignments, projects, anything that had to do with college was in one planner. And then for my classes that I taught, lesson plans, performances, assignments, activities, anything like that was in a separate planner. And then I had a third one, which the third planner is my favorite. It's kind of your catch-all planner. So in your third one, that's where you have appointments, like doctor's appointments or dentist, or like even things like lunches with friends or parties, stuff like that. That's just you and your personal life and your time. I have a separate planner for that because you need to prioritize that, and your time is important, obviously. Otherwise you wouldn't feel spread thin or whatever. Your time is important, so prioritize that. In this catch-all planner, the reason I love it is because it's kind of your big picture look at things. I would still put things that I had in my other planners in my third planner, but I wouldn't go into detail. So I would go into detail lesson plans in this planner, put everything you need in it. I would put all my homework assignments, my drafting things out, my just brain dumps in these, but I would only put dates if I had like a performance or if I had to return books by a certain day. I put it in this personal planner. And that's just so that you get the big picture of like, okay, I have personal stuff going on, I have school stuff going on, and I have work stuff going on in a way, in a format that isn't super overwhelming to the eye. If one planner works for you and you like to have things all in one place ready to go, then do that. That's awesome, that works for you. For me, this is just more manageable, and I like seeing different perspectives of things. So I liked having a weekly layout for one kind of planner. I liked having a monthly layout for this one, and I like having a daily layout for my catch-all planner. So whether it is 3 planners, 2 or 1 or whatever you're using, just find what works for you and get organized. So my second tip is to just breathe. This is something, again, that seems either really cheesy, because, just breathe, or very intuitive or simple, but it has helped me a ton. No matter how busy I am, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm just getting super overwhelmed, if I can't think straight, if my heart is racing, if I just feel like I'm drowning in a sea of a bunch of stuff to do, I take 10 deep breaths for myself. And that has made such a big difference in ways that I didn't realize. No matter how busy you are, you have 10 seconds to take for yourself. And in those 10 seconds, I do not think about other ways to fix stuff. I don't think about the stuff that I need to do. I'm not trying to focus on anything else except breathing. And I think sometimes just having that pause, like our lifestyles are so fast and they're so get up and go all the time. I think just pausing yourself, even for 10 deep breaths, is something that we all really need and something that's super helpful. It kind of clears your mind and you just have that time to give yourself. And you know, you're like a battery, and if you don't recharge yourself, it's hard to keep going. And so that 10 seconds is really nice. So no matter how stressed I am, no matter what I'm doing, if I just feel like panicky and my heart is beating really fast and stuff is going on, I always have 10 seconds to just breathe and give myself. And that could be like the world is falling apart and everything's crashing and burning around me. I am going to breathe and I'm going to give myself those 10 seconds. So try to give yourself that too. It's not really hard and it helps way more than you think. So my next tip I love, because I think we forget to do it a lot, but it's to find your why. We say yes to so many things, and we take on a lot more than we probably need to in our lives. And so when you get overwhelmed and when you get stressed, it's nice to take inventory of what you've signed up for, what you're doing, what you've kept in your life, and just ask, like, is this contributing towards why I ultimately do things? Like, is this my passion? Does it make me happy? Does it keep me balanced? Is this good for me? Is this good for my lifestyle, or is it adding more stress? And just something for me that I've always worked on. I'm a yes person and I always want to take on a bunch of things, and I seem to, but I've gotten a little bit more picky about what I add on, because I ask myself, you know, like, is this going to be more stress than it's worth to me? Is this something I really need to do? Do I love this? And just because you can do it does not mean you should. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean, you know, you are bad if you can't do something, or you simply just don't want to. Like, it just won't be good for you. There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's this connotation, like, if I do a bunch of stuff and whatever, like, you're not a better person for doing those things. It's better to keep the stuff that you do or that your stress is to a minimum so you can really do good on stuff, as opposed to taking every single thing on when it's really not going to be the best for you or for the people you're doing it for. Because if your heart's not fully in it and if it's not something you are going 100% with, it's not really worth it, you know? So I think just when you are overwhelmed and stressed, always ask your why and always go back to that. And if you don't have peace about it and it doesn't fit your life or it's not doing you good, then, you know, cut that out or find a way to fix it or get rid of it. Yeah. And if you are finding that you need something, you know, add stuff that isn't necessarily practical all the time, but just stuff that makes you feel good and stuff that's good for you, that like makes you feel passionate and excited about something. So always find your why. All right, my next one is a little bit more fun, and that is to treat yourself. So that doesn't mean every single time that you do something, and that doesn't mean, you know, go crazy or overboard so that you're stressed later because you spent all this money. Treating yourself can range from big to small things. Like when me and Alexis lived in the same place, we would treat ourselves after a really stressful week, and we would, like, I don't know, it could be something as simple as like we go get our nails done together. And or, you know, we just like treat ourselves to like a night in. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to hang out and not do anything. If treating yourself is like, okay, I'm going to have that dessert, or I'm going to get myself that pair of shoes that I really wanted. Or if it's like, I'm going to hermit away for a day and no one can talk to me and I'm going to turn my phone off. Whatever that is for you, treat yourself, because it's life, and you know, things are always going to be crazy and stressful at some point. And so make it manageable and fun along the way, and reward yourself, because you're working hard and you're trying, and sometimes that's enough. Like, you're always enough. And acknowledging how great you are, or acknowledging that you've been working hard and treating yourself to something you deserve is really important. And again, same thing with like being honest, like no one's gonna do that for you but you. So take that time for yourself, and big or small, whatever it is, just kind of treat yourself every now and then. All right, so the next tip is to just unplug. It's super hard to do because we're so used to being on our phones or watching TV or listening to music or the radio, and there's stuff just coming at us all the time, that when you really unplug, it's weird. And I like it because your attention for once isn't divided a million different ways. You're not just taking in information constantly. You can just focus and breathe. And so when I get really overwhelmed and everyone is asking stuff, there's emails, there's texts that I have to answer, there's, you know, a million stuff going on, I'll just give myself that time. And that can be in big or small ways. When I'm really overwhelmed, I just turn my phone off for the whole day, and I'll pick it up later. Sometimes it can be something as small as just when you're eating lunch, don't answer emails, don't answer texts or phone calls and whatever. Just take that like 30 minutes to an hour and just eat your lunch. Just give yourself that time, and it's nice, and it kind of recharges you in your own way, because you could be with yourself and your thoughts, and you don't have to worry about a million other things. We really like to multitask nowadays, and I don't think that's always best, and I don't think that's always the most productive way to do things, because, you know, you're splitting up your efforts and your energy and your brain power and cutting it in half between a bunch of different stuff. So just unplug when you get a chance. I find it good, and work it into ways that work for you. Like some people really can't unplug for like a week, you know, or you can't take the whole day because there's important stuff. But small things like, hey, if I'm gonna watch this TV, I'm just gonna watch this TV. I'm not gonna try to talk to people and write my emails and do my homework and do everything at the same time. Just try to focus on one thing and disconnect as much as you can. It's really hard to constantly be bombarded by what everyone else is doing, what everyone else is asking. And so, yeah, just unplug.
Hey guys, I'm pretty sure that Hannah has given you some great tips and a great perspective on how to handle stress and kind of some of the personal things that she does. But right now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I have handled stress in the past, as well as give my 5 tips that I personally do to help me handle my stress. Alright, so as we all know, stress is a natural occurrence that happens in life. Stress can sometimes be good, but other times it can be very bad. And for me in the past, my stress was very, very bad. It was really unhealthy. And I'm going to tell you guys a short story, at least I'll try to keep it short, about my experience of unhealthy stress. So around this time last year, I had just graduated from college, and if you are a college student about to graduate, you know how stressful that time can be. So I had just graduated from college. I was in a relationship with someone for 4 years, and then I had also decided to take a job in Arkansas as a coach. So it was huge changes, just the transition from college to adult life, and then the transition from me moving from Texas to Arkansas was a huge change for me, and that really, really stressed me out. I think that the reason that I was so stressed was because I had established relationships and good friendship connections with people in Texas, and I was afraid that I was going to lose those relationships from me moving, you know, from one state to the other. I wouldn't have as much time with them, like personal time in person, so those relationships would be lost, and that kind of scared me a little bit. Also, just having to move to a different place and get to meet new people, you have to reestablish relationships with people. I was like, man, like this is too much. So I was completely stressed out, and I would say in July or August, around this time last year, I was about 125 pounds, and I had never been that small ever before in my life. And I got that small because whenever I'm stressed, I am the type of person that doesn't eat. Like, it's not because I don't want to eat, it's just that if I'm stressed out, I have no appetite. So I would have to physically force myself to eat, but that wasn't happening because I still had lost weight. So, you know, that was the type of unhealthy stress that I was having. Because of that unhealthy stress, I was very fatigued all the time. Like, I really didn't want to get out and do anything. Also, I was just in a very negative mindset. I wasn't really positive about anything in life. I was just always like, oh, like dreading the next day, or dreading that something was going to happen, you know, and that's really not the person that I am. But last year around that time, because of stress, that's exactly how I was. And personally for me, my stress kind of comes in three waves. I noticed that the first thing that I would do whenever I felt myself stressing out was start to worry. And then the next thing I would do would be overthink. And then the last thing was that horrible anxiety that you get in your chest. Basically, that was my everyday life. I would worry, overthink about the situation, and then get filled with anxiety. And if you are dealing with anxiety or stress, depression, certain things like that, then you know what that feeling is like, you know? And it took a lot for me to get to the point where I was like, okay, this is really unhealthy. I need to get back to being myself, because I didn't feel like myself at all. And a lot of times stress can do that to you. You know, you kind of lose yourself in the process because your mind is just going crazy about all the things that you need to do, or how life is going to turn out, or you're worrying about a relationship with the person. So it took a lot for me just to wake up and be like, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to get back healthy, and I'm not going to worry about things that are out of my control. With that being said, once I decided to change my lifestyle and, you know, handle my stress better, there were a couple of things that I did, but I'm going to give you guys my top 5 that I feel like would really help some of you. And, you know, whatever works for me personally may not work for you, but these are just some things that come to mind whenever you may be dealing with stress. They're just 5 quick tips that could really help you. Okay, so my number 1 tip in order to better handle your stress is to, first of all, get into your faith. Whatever you believe in, you may not be Christian, you may not even have a faith, but for me personally, this is what worked for me. For a while, my relationship with God wasn't where it needed to be, and I felt like that was something that I needed to do in order to, you know, get myself back to where I needed to be and recollect my thoughts. If you don't have a faith, because I know that everyone doesn't, you can always meditate, because that still allows you the time to sit there. You can be in silence, you can recollect your thoughts, and you can get yourself back in the mindset that you want to be at. Okay, so my tip number 2 is to prioritize. What I mean by that is take things day by day. Don't overload yourself with tasks, you know. Don't think about what you have to do tomorrow or next week or next month or even next year. Just think about your day, a Monday, for instance. Take a Monday, write down everything that you need to do, prioritize it, make sure that you get what's done important first, and then let everything else follow behind it. For me, whenever I decided to do that, things were so much easier. Like, I felt like I could actually breathe because I wasn't thinking about all these other things that I needed to do. I was just in the moment of what needed to be done as soon as possible. So that's something that you could do as well. Tip number 3. So for my tip number 3, some of you may want to do this, others may not, but journaling. I cannot tell you how much journaling really helped me. Whenever you have a journal and you can write down your frustrations, your worries, you know, what you're thankful for, just anything that's going on in your life, like, it's so much easier because you can physically express that in a journal, and it's still private. You know, some people don't want to talk to their friends, sometimes they don't want to talk to their family about certain situations in their life, but a journal allows you to do that because you're the only one that can read it. So whenever I decided to journal, I basically wrote down everything, you know, things that I was afraid of, or things that I felt were going good, or I would do sometimes just stupid stuff, you know, like, I don't even know, I can't even tell you, but yeah, journaling is really therapeutic for some people, and if you haven't tried it, you need to. My tip number 4 for you all is to find someone that you trust and vent to them about your problems. For me, I know that I vent to my mom, my grandma, and my aunts all the time. And for a while, I really didn't allow people to know what was going on with me, basically. We all want to portray ourselves as so strong, you know, especially like black women. People be like, oh, you got to be a strong black woman, all this stuff. But once I allowed myself to be vulnerable and, you know, put myself out there, let people know how I'm feeling, they were able to help me, because no one can help you until you tell them what the problem is. You know, no one can read your mind. So once I decided to do that, I just felt more at ease. Like, they were trying to help me as much as they could, and I didn't feel like I was just closed inside of a box and it was basically just me, you know, having to do everything by myself. So whenever you have somebody that you can vent to, someone that you can trust, you don't have to go around spilling your business to everybody or anybody who will listen. Make sure that you find someone that you can really trust, if it's a family member or a friend, and that those people won't judge you for what you're going through. Alright, so we're finally on my last tip, and my 5th tip for you guys is to give yourself pep talks. Now, I know that probably sounds kind of stupid, but it's similar to treat yourself, like Hannah had said. Some of us ain't got the money to treat ourselves, you know? So we got to give ourselves pep talks. I do it all the time. I tell myself that I can get through a certain situation, that I got this, that, you know, I've never failed before, that everything's going to be okay, things like that. Something quick, something easy. Maybe you can even, you know, in your head, tell yourself three things that you do well. And that can really uplift your spirits. Like, you know, it's part of self-love. It's very beneficial, and it's quick. Something very quick that you can do if you're stressing out, you're worrying, you're having anxiety. You can tell yourself, you know, like, I look good today, or I got this done the other day, or, you know, just achievements that you've had so far in life. Because, like I said, not everybody has the money to go treat themselves. Not everybody has the time to do that either. So, in my perspective, you're still treating yourself, because you're feeding yourself positive words that are going to really uplift you, and not only uplift you, but also enhance your self-love. So those are my 5 tips. I hope that they're beneficial for you, because they've been very beneficial for me. And if you guys have any questions, you got anything else you want us to cover, please hit us up on VarieTea_Talk on Instagram or here on our website. Thank you guys so much for watching our video about stress management. I hope that you guys gained some great tips on how to better handle your stress. And please continue to follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, tag your friends on our Instagram posts, tell them to come and watch us too, because we need all the support we can get. I know that I look a little beat down and busted up today, but it's because I just got done working out. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Variety Talk.